balance system security with user experience when platforms scale across region and markets, and you have done that beautifully in the past.
No, thank you for that question. So I think, so I've been very blessed to have worked across different sectors, some regulated, some unregulated. And depending upon the sector you're in and the type of regulation you are subject to, if you're a multi-geography company operating in different jurisdictions and you're developing platforms across geographies and you're scaling your platforms, the most important thing is to have an overarching, if we're talking about from a security architecture point of view, or if you're building a multi-geography technology stack, the most important thing is to have an overarching vision for your tech stack, for your security stack. That's number one. Number two, in today's world, exposure management is fundamental to, if you're a publicly traded company, exposure management, risk exposure management is obviously very key. And so how you manage that by laying out very well-defined policies across the board, laying out your risk appetites, laying out your quantifications for a very quantified risk framework for your organization. And of course, if you're, regardless of which architecture you're building, whether it's a hybrid architecture or you're developing it in-house, I think in today's world, making sure that you are enabling your talent to be upskilled, to be more well-versed in AI, whether it's on the coding side, whether it's on the agentic development side. I think these three pillars are fundamental to organizations today. In the past, I might have given a different answer when AI was not rampant throughout in the corporate ecosystem. But I think now with that being the case, how you staff, how you upscale, how you train and your talent and how you develop your overarching vision for your organization, depending upon the sector you're in, I think that is fundamental to how you scale your architectures across your geographies. In my experience in different industries, that is the pathway which has worked best for my stakeholders.
Sure. I'll come back to you again. So, Eric, I want to understand, I mean, you give some interesting examples. I mean, you've been working with bigger platforms like you mentioned, the Changi Airport and all. So how do you look at security when you are dealing with such kind of customers which operate at a scale and wherein there are zero chances of failure?
Great question. So I think the key thing here is that data is the most important thing. But the thing is, if you don't understand, or we as humans don't understand that we're being attacked, how would we understand how to prepare for it or execute and what to do? So one of the key things is that from what we call a digital twin perspective, we're starting to not only understand it and connect all the data silos, but also to make sense of it. If there's abnormalities going on, for example, even in CCTV access, right, video management system, which every building has, who actually watches that footage outside of one security guard who literally is a human being and looks at all of these windows into the entire building? What are they trying to understand here, right? We are built with only two eyes. We can't process all that information. So this is where technology comes in. For better or worse, we need to actually adapt and understand that, hey, our buildings are getting taller, our organization is getting more complex. We need to deploy more complicated solutions to battle what exactly is happening. So at the end of the day, especially when we think about airports, right? In Singapore, that is one of the most complicated environments in the country. So when we look at multiple data silos, connecting it and making sense of that, that's really the critical thing. Once you make sense of it, because when we operate software, we need to understand, okay, what exactly is going on with Terminal 1 through 4, Jewel, as well as the air side. Once you can see, because in our minds, literally just now when I said Jewel, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, I was just there. Oh, there's a Nike store, there's an Apple store. We can see it in our minds. But why can't our software also understand that? Right? So when I think about connecting the data silos and making sense of all of that data, it has to make sense for human beings to operate it. And then once we understand all that data, then we apply sort of the AI agentic frameworks to help us utilize it or wield it as a tool to hunt down potential problems. So this is where the transparency comes in. If you don't have transparency of your data, how do we, as well as how does AI benefit our systems? It doesn't. So I think at the end of the day, again, connectivity is key, right? A lot of people say, well, a digital twin, once you connect everything, isn't that more dangerous? But I disagree. Because once you have transparency and you understand your organization at large, that changes the narrative as well as the way that you try to problem solve.
That's a good way to look at it. So I come to you, Ken, and want to pick up your mind on security and trust practices. Any anecdote you would like to share in terms of how it has further directly contributed to growth and customer loyalty?
Sure, sure. I reckon that can be showcased best by real example. So the real example is none other than the transformation journey that I've gone through in the group. What happened is I joined them like 11 years ago doing transformation, digital transformation so-called. And I just perform as a group CIO. It's a main board listed company, so there are a lot of compliances that we need to do. The likes of ISO, so many numbers, right? 9,000, 14,000, 45,000. So I do my due diligence and do whatever that's necessary. It's just a job, right? So, but there is a trust certificate for the company, which is important. I only realize the importance of the certification and the trust level when the spin-off actually happened. When the IT department gotten spun off into a local subsidiary or consulting outfit, we realized that simple thing like ISO 27000, without it, we can't bid for certain tender. So that is very important. That is something to begin with. And then I would say that what I learned is that there's different tier of actually certification from that perspective. So this is what we call sectorial tier. So there's a security sector kind of certification. And after which we get into maritime cybersecurity. And we realize that the 27,000 itself doesn't really impact us that much. So there are new certification in maritime. If you are in maritime, you would know there's a regulation framework called IX 2627, which is actually launched only last year and regulate the ships that if it's not cyber compliant, they cannot sail for new builds. So then we get ourselves into attestation as a consulting outfit, and that actually give us that first-hand view, this sort of certification is so important to be accepted by the industry. And there's another layer of learning is beyond all this sectorial certification, what I term it is practices, the certification of practices, which is also very important. That is at the final granularity in a sense. So to give an example, we have this some small software that we can email to the captain of the ship. The captain open up the software. In 1 day's time, we can give them a 50-page VAPT report of the ship, right? So we didn't know. We thought we were so proud of the solution. We can't sell. Do you know why? Because the shipping people is saying that you're going to run this in my ship. No way. The trust level is not there. So we overcome that by getting a certification from a classification body, which is a certifier in the shipping industry, to say that this is passive and this is safe. And guess what? From there, we get orders coming in. So I hope that actually answer and exemplify that your question, that this type of certification at different level is so important.
Okay, Bryan, coming to you, talking about compliance and privacy. I mean, how do you think growing companies should approach data protection and regulatory compliance without slowing innovation and speed to market?
Yeah, so I think for security and trust, right? So I just want to share my personal experience. So when I was building my own startup, So like, when you are managing someone else's cashback and then you are taking their bank account so that you can deposit those funds to their bank account, I think trust is something that cannot be rebuilt. So in the first 7 months, first half a year of the company, our issues is the people who come and see and use our product don't trust our product because we are new, right? So I think this one you have to rewind back. This is 2013, right? 2013, 2014. That's more than a decade ago. But I think so that's why I think from day one we built a lot of these enhancement security features as part of these product features, right? So a lot of these I would say that a lot of these companies that I work with today, when I talk to them, when I share this experience with them, the other question will be, if you didn't build it now, can you afford it to build it twice? Because most of the time you have to strip away the foundation and then you have to rebuild this foundation again. So definitely when we build all this, especially AI-driven, open cloud, security is definitely the foundation. So innovation can only happen when you know when's the break, right? When you drive a car, you can speed up to 100 kilometers per hour only because you know that your car can brake, right? So security is something that is like a brake. So this is how I explain to many of my enterprise customer, the CXOs, and we always have to use analogy, right? So to explain to them because the other party might not have the same experience, right? So that's one thing to share here.
Yeah. Manan, I come back to you to talk about how business value is being created with the help of AI. So, how do you look at that? I mean, do you think AI is further going to change how organizations think about security, trust, transparency? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously AI is an enabler, and I mean, like I mentioned in the beginning, I am obviously an enthusiast and an evangelist and a supporter of embedding AI deeper into organizations, but obviously with guardrails and nuances and tight governance and policing on any implementation of AI in organizations. That being said, obviously it's going to be an accelerant. I mean, Eric and I, we were talking backstage about the sheer amount of work which AI cuts or accelerates for us, whether you're talking about in the financial space, whether you're talking about in the data analytics space, any facet of corporate behavior, an AI layer accelerates the pace of innovation, the pace of growth, no doubt. All the telemetry points to this direction. I mean, and there are obviously upsides and downsides to this. The upside is that legislation has not yet caught up, number one. Number two, what do you do with the humans and their knowledge who are inevitably going to come across this agentic AI competitor? What do you do with the human workforce? How do you retrain, reorient them? So I'm a believer that AI is not a believer, that's the wrong word. From all the data points which I've seen, AI is not replacing humans in the operator SME workspace anytime soon, not in this decade, but it is definitely a very strong enabler. And I think the challenge which organizations in different industries are facing right now with the current capability which AI platforms offer is how to augment their workforce and the capability of the workforce with this accelerant which AI offers. So it's definitely redefining the cybersecurity space. It's redefining the retail space, regardless of which end of the spectrum you're talking about. It's redefining the financial space in the financial industry because agentic AI does everything humans do better, albeit with some caveats. I mean, I could go on all day examples from each one of these sectors, but suffice to say, yeah, it is leaving a significant dent on the ground with this capability. And I think proper management of this capability is the challenge which boardrooms are facing in the industries I'm involved in. And so I think that is something that is an ongoing challenge for us to rein this dragon and to ride it properly so it doesn't eat us alive.
Sure. Okay. Eric, any case study you want to share for the startup or enterprise you worked with, which further help you build some robust trust practices?
Yeah, I mean, from a startup perspective, right? It's AI is really empowering startups to wield the power of the entire internet, essentially, right? The entire history of mankind's intelligence in the palm of our hands. And earlier, what we were just talking about, right? That the next billion-dollar company will be built by one person. It's true. It's happening right now. And, I agree that things are moving quite fast. Regulation has not caught up, right? Governments have not caught up. That is the biggest problem that we see right now, especially when we work in the smart city industries, when we work with governments, essentially. They don't know what's happening, right? They don't understand. They think that it's just a chatbot. But I'm sorry to say it's not just a chatbot. And this is the key where when we work with our clients in not only Singapore, in Malaysia, in Dubai, we're seeing requirements, except at the end of the day, how do we try to be on the cutting edge, right? Because larger organizations, they move slower, right? This is normal, but this is why startup environments and being an entrepreneur is all about. It's to, what was Zuckerberg's quote? Move fast and break stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's how things should be, right? And sure, you look at Facebook and now Meta, they purchased Manus. We're just talking about this for $2 billion recently, right? And Singapore company, which is incredible because at the end of the day, it's an arms race.
Yeah, it does.
And when it comes to not only regulation, right now it's the Wild West. We're just chatting about this for better or worse because you have interesting fellows like Elon Musk trying to basically take over not only the physical world, but also the digital world combined together. And if that bias, it's no matter what, human beings are greedy. Everybody has our own sort of agendas. Doesn't matter if you're American or Chinese or Singaporean. AI is trained based off of that. So how exactly is this gonna come out on top, right? So this is why we have to work together. It doesn't matter how large or how small companies and governments are. We have to sort of think together, where is this leading us? And where is it going to lead the next digital economy?
Sure. So on that note, I'll quickly ask Ben, Ken and Bryan to give your closing remarks for 30 seconds each as the final closing panelists are also waiting.
Right. I think I'll comment on the security compliances. It's not about just having compliances and you feel secure. A lot of entities, a lot of companies, well, they score flying colors for their compliances and tomorrow they get into incidents. So a lot of thinking, this portion I think need to be more complete because compliance and security practices and security operation is a completely different thing. So what I want to leave behind is today I think there's a mention of security. What is the three things? Security, the next thing is trust and transparency. So my take is that the security will help you open the door. The trust will get you to the customers, and the transparency will help you to retain the customer.
Thank you. Bryan?
I think the takeaway is that nowadays I think the tools are all readily available. So I think the one thing is that if you are not using it, then your competitor that use it will slowly eat you up. So that's the one thing that when I was talking to some of my customer is that if you are trying to justify the value of AI, I think that's not the topic that we should be focusing on. I think the topic is how are you going to use AI to outsmart, outcompete your competition. So I think that's one way that we should be looking at. So that's the takeaway.
Oh,
Closing remarks on our topic, right?
yeah, is AI the best tool?
No, I think it's an for audiences of this particular platform who's hosting us today. Whether you're a small or medium-sized business, or you're a multi-region behemoth, AI is going to touch you. AI platforms, agentic AI is going to touch your universe equally seismically. So I think it's a great time to be alive. AI has democratized capabilities in the past, which were niche. That opens up horizons for entrepreneurs, for innovators in today's world. So it's very exciting to see the stuff which has come out, all the products which are coming out. And I think the path ahead is bright, but obviously it's not all rose petals and wine. But keeping my optimism on the front side, I think for entrepreneurs, medium-sized businesses or large companies, they can all leverage this capability to exponentially leapfrog where they are now, both in terms of their product development, their cyber, their operations, their finance, regardless of which aspect of corporate life you're talking about. And that is obviously an immense benefit. And so, great time to be alive.
Okay. Yeah, I bet. Okay. Eric.
Yeah. Just a quick last word. Just AI is great, but at the end of the day, humans are better. So I think at the end of the day, this is why these events are so important, to bring like-minded individuals together, right? Meet new people, explore ideas together, and collaborate. Because at the end of the day, right, AI is AI, it's going to be everywhere, but we still need to work together and we still need to make decisions on behalf of AI. So looking forward to collaborations worldwide.
Sure. Thank you, panelists. On that note, we conclude the session. Thank you for joining us for the discussion.